Hi guys, in this video we're going to cover about three topics. The first one is AIDS, the cancer, and alcohol and drug abuse. AIDS. The full form of AIDS is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome caused by a virus HIV, which is human immunodeficiency virus. HIV is a retrovirus. Now, let's learn about what is retrovirus. Virus which has RNA as its genetic material other than DNA is called retrovirus. In short form, it is called as RNA viruses. They have a unique enzyme called as reverse transcriptase, which enables them to turn RNA into DNA after entering into the host cell. Such viruses are called as retroviruses. Now, let's learn about the transmission of HIV, how it occurs. First one, through sexual contact with the infected person. Second, sharing infected needles in case of intravenous drug abusers. Third one, transfusion of contaminated blood. The fourth one is the infected mother to the child through placenta. The time lag between the infection and the appearance of the symptoms could be from 5 to 10 years. How does AIDS infection spread? The retrovirus, which has a viral protein coat, which is RNA, enters the macrophages. Once the virus enters the macrophages, using the reverse transcriptase, a viral DNA is produced. This viral DNA incorporates into the host genome, which is nothing but the host DNA, and it starts producing new viral RNAs. This new viral RNAs will turn into form new viruses. These new viruses get out of the macrophages, and then they start producing new viruses which can infect other cells or other macrophages. The infected cells can survive while the viruses are being replicated and released. Here, macrophages become a virtual HIV factory. Thereafter, HIV enters the helper T lymphocytes, replicates and produces progenies. As the progenies are released, they attack other T lymphocytes. Therefore, when the T lymphocyte starts decreasing in the number, the immune system gets weakened. Even the infections which could be overcome easily starts aggravating. Let's discuss about the diagnosis of AIDS. It is diagnosed by a test called ELISA, ELISA, enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Now let's learn about the treatment. There is no permanent cure for this disease. There are certain antiretroviral therapies which can actually prolong the life of the patients. Now, how do we prevent this disease? By ensuring use of disposable syringes, screening blood from blood banks, advocating safe intercourse, and there are two organizations, that is National AIDS Control Organizations and other NGOs, create awareness among people about the disease. Now, let's learn about cancer. The process of development of a cancer is called as oncogenic transformation. Onco means cancer. What happens here? The normal cells have a property of contact inhibition. Now, let's learn what is contact inhibition. Stoppage of growth on coming in contact with other cells. This happens with the normal cells, whereas the cancer cells loses this property. As a result, cancer cells divide continuously to give rise to mass of cells, which is nothing but tumors. These tumors are of two types. The first one is benign, the second one is malignant. Now, what is this benign tumors? This benign tumor is not actually the cancer. Wherever or whichever cells which are dividing continuously, they remain confined to their original location and does not spread to the neighboring organs. Whereas malignant tumors exhibit a stage or a process called as metastasis, where these tumors reach to distant sites and organs and the tumor is formed. Malignant tumors actually represent cancer. The cells which actively divide, grow and starve the normal cells of vital nutrients. Now let's learn about the causes of the cancer. There are substances and the viruses which causes cancer. The first one is carcinogens. Carcinogens are of three agents, that is physical, chemical and biological agents that can cause cancer. For example, ionizing radiations, example X-rays and gamma rays are the major cause for cancers, and the non-ionizing radiations could be the ultraviolet rays. The second one is the oncogenic viruses. It is also called as cancer causing viruses. They have a viral oncogene, that is nothing but the cancer causing gene. Sometimes normal genes in a body called as proto-oncogenes get converted into the cellular oncogenes that can cause cancer. Now, let's learn about how to diagnose these cancers. There are two methods, that is biopsy and histopathological studies, where biopsy is done to suspected tissue is cut into thin sections and examined microscopically. Then we have other method called as radiography. Here radiography is nothing but the CT scans or the computed tomography, the MRI scans or the magnetic resonance imaging, or the 3D imaging of the internal organs are generated through X-rays. Immunological and molecular biology diagnostic techniques can also be used to detect cancers. Identifying certain genes which make an individual susceptible to cancers can help to prevent cancers. Now, let's learn about the treatment for cancers. There are three therapies used. The radiotherapy. Here, the tumor cells are irradiated to death. Also, the proper care is taken for protecting the surrounding normal tissues. The second one is the chemotherapy. Drugs specific for particular tumors are used to kill the cancers. But you have two side effects here. One is the hair loss and the anemia. The third one is immunotherapy. Biological response modifiers such as alpha interferons are used. They activate the immune system of the patient and help in destroying the tumor. Now let's learn about commonly abused drugs. The first one is opioids. It's also called as heroin. The source is the acetylation of the morphine extracted from the latex of a poppy plant. The scientific name for the poppy plant is Papaver somniferum. How is it consumed? It is consumed by snorting or injection. The properties could be white, bitter, and odorless. The mode of action is it binds to the opioid receptors present in the CNS, that is central nervous system, and the gastrointestinal tract. What could be its effect? It is a depressant, slows down body functions. The second abused drug is cannabinoids. The source is the inflorescence of the plant Cannabis sativa. It is consumed by inhalation or oral ingestion. The mode of action is it binds to the cannabinoid receptor present in the brain. The effect could be it affects the cardiovascular system. Another abused drug is cocaine. The source could be the cocoa plant called Erythroxylum coco found in the South America. It is consumed by snorting. The mode of action is interference with the transfer of a neurotransmitter called dopamine. It stimulates the CNS, that is the central nervous system, producing a sense of euphoria and increases energy along with excessive dosages which can cause hallucinations. Now, let's learn about the drugs which is normally used as medicines as well as abused. Drugs like barbiturates, amphetamines, benzodiazepines, LSD, the full form of LSD is lysergic acid diethyl are used as medicines to help patients with mental illness and insomnia. There's another drug called morphine, which is a painkiller given to the patients who have undergone surgery, but it is also abused. Another abused drug is nicotine, which is present in tobacco, which is smoked, chewed, or snuffed. The mode of action is it stimulates the adrenal gland to release adrenaline and noradrenaline hormones. It increases the blood pressure and the heart rate. Let's learn about the ill effects of the smoking. It increased risk of diseases such as bronchitis, emphysema, coronary artery disease, gastric ulcer, and cancer, which could be related to throat, lung, and urinary bladder. It increases the carbon monoxide levels in the blood, leading to oxygen deficiency. What could be the causes of alcohol or drug abuse? Alcohol or drug abuse normally starts in adolescence. The period could be from 12 to 18 years, the transition phase between the childhood and the adulthood. Many adolescents are motivated towards the drug or the alcohol due to curiosity and experimentation. Peer pressure, academic stress, unstable family structure further incline youth towards alcohol or drug abuse. Perception of consuming alcohol or drug being cool and progressive and use of alcohol or drug in television, movies, etc. further promote this habit. Now, let's learn about the alcohol or the drug addiction. When a person uses alcohol or drug repeatedly, he becomes addicted. Addiction refers to the psychological attachment to certain effects such as euphoria and temporary feeling of well-being associated with use of alcohol or drugs. In addition, tolerance level of receptors present in our body increases towards the drug. This drives the person to use them even when they are not required or when they tend to harm his health or family life. Subsequently, the user runs into a vicious circle of addiction and subsequent dependence. Now, dependence leads to a manifestation of the withdrawal syndromes on discontinuation of use. The withdrawal syndrome includes anxiety, nausea, sweating, shakiness, and sometimes may be lethal. What are the effects of the alcohol and drug abuse? Vandalism, violence, and reckless behavior, drop in academic performances, lack of interest in personal hygiene, rebellious behavior, change in eating and sleeping patterns, weight and appetite fluctuations, mental, psychological, and financial loss. Those who take drugs intravenously has high risk of acquiring deadly diseases such as AIDS and hepatitis B. Damage to the nervous system and liver cirrhosis is found. The use of anabolic steroids by sportspersons has adverse effects. In males, it causes acne, aggressiveness, depression, reduction in size of testicles, decreased sperm production, enlargement of prostate gland, breast enlargement, and premature baldness. In females, it increases the masculinity, aggressiveness, depression, abnormal menstrual cycle, facial hair growth, enlargement of clitoris, and deepening of voice, which prolonged use of alcohol drugs leads to coma and death. How do we prevent this alcohol or drug abuse? It is better to prevent the inclination of an individual towards alcohol or drugs right from adolescence. Some of the ways of prevention are: avoid peer pressure under the unique personality and capabilities of the child. Education and counseling. A child must be taught to accept success and failure equally, especially during adolescence. He must be inclined towards constructive activities such as music, yoga, sports, reading based on its interest. Help from parents and peers. This includes proper guidance, advice, and trust to everyone to overcome problems such as stress and guilt. Identifying danger signals. If any sign of symptoms of alcohol or drug abuse is seen in the adolescent by family or friends, then it should not be ignored because prevention is better than cure. Seeking medical help. Psychologists and rehabilitation programs surely help an addict. Medical help should be sought to prevent further damage. Thank you, children.